With the death of Steve Jobs now in the past, the FBI has released his file to the public for people to see. The contents of the file are quite interesting. It mainly consists of past court cases against him, one of which has not yet been settled. It also sheds some light on his personal past, including the fact that he had been considered for a presidential appointment in 1991 under George H.W. Bush's time in office. He had converted to Buddhism and admits to having used drugs. In a very appropriate revelation, Steve Jobs never had a real job. His FBI file shows that his first employment in 1974 was Atari Incorporated. This should come as no surprise. Despite the adamant declaration by his followers, Steve Jobs already came from a privileged position. His fans never ask how a man in his 20s was able to sit at home, tinkering with computers, coming up with ideas without having to go out and work and get a job. Because his parents were already well off. He had a tremendous amount of privilege in not having to work so that he could dream up ideas and experiments with them. He didn't have to get a job to survive like the rest of us. They claim that if anyone has talent and ability, they can supposedly climb to the top and achieve. Many talented people have been ignored or destroyed by the corporate world, or from a lack of access to education. It shows much of the hollowness of such a claim about capitalism. In the FBI file, it shows some of his past legal troubles. There's 5 lawsuits listed, which the document says only one is unsettled. Apple Computer Securities litigation, United States District Court for the North District of California, filed in 1984. The issue involves alleged violation of Section 10B of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, which means he's been accused of fraud, manipulation, or insider trading. Since the case was filed in 1984 and still hasn't been resolved, it's suspicious. As if a lawsuit that's been ongoing without resolution for more than 25 years isn't strange enough. It gets stranger. According to the document, half of the case against Steve Jobs went missing. A check of the records of the United States District Court, San Jose, California, determined that this file consists of 10 volumes, only 5 of which could be located. Volume 1, containing the original complaint and details of the matter, was one of the unavailable volumes. Interesting how such an important volume against such a wealthy man has gone missing. After asking around a group of people I know in legal work, they've got a guess as to what might have happened. Most likely Jobs tied up the entire suit, filing motion after motion to delay it. Also, they speculate that eventually Jobs was able to pay someone off to go into the records room and have the important parts of the file go missing. This is not uncommon. It happens frequently with wealthy people. This is, however, only speculation as to how half a criminal case can go missing. Later on in the FBI file, it showed that there were great questions about his personal integrity, including the phrase, "Mr. Jobs will twist the truth and distort reality in order to achieve his goals." To think Steve Jobs didn't do such things would be quite naive. You don't grow to the top of the computer game like he did without doing extraordinarily underhanded moves. After all, this is the guy who attempted to deny the working conditions in Foxconn facilities that led to suicides. He also denied the slave labor working conditions, much of which has come out now, even more so after his death. This would make him no different than any other mega corporation who exploits millions in the productive process that leads to massive abuses of human rights and social devastation. Even some personal matters were mentioned. It is said that he was not supportive of the woman he had a child out of wedlock with, or the child itself. But the file noted that later on he had become more supportive. So for a time, at least, it seemed like he was a deadbeat dad, despite his wealth. If that is the case, we shouldn't be surprised. It's a mentality among the bourgeois that they are entitled to avoid responsibility for their actions. This would be nothing unique to Steve Jobs at all. The file, in the end, shows a man who was respected for his work, but was not trusted and often thought of as questionable and a liar. But that's par for the course in capitalism. He made tons of money, helped create technical innovations, command respect, but was a poor human being. What does likely being a deadbeat dad, a person who dealt in the worst working conditions that led to suicides, and then lying about their connection to them, endless lawsuits that prevented many people from competing with him, compared to the fact that he made a lot of money? That fits the mentality and nihilism of capitalism quite nicely. Hey guys, if you haven't done so by now, I suggest you click the link in the description, go over and order a copy of my new ebook, Selected Works of the Maoist Rebel, Volume 1. Thanks for your support.